the interim, I can ask Mahad if you would unmute yourself and begin to give your presentation, if you don't mind.
Thank you, Ahmed, and the panelists, and for this important discussion. I would like to focus my introductory remarks in the Mogadishu model that is going to be implemented this time. After a series of consultative meetings between the leaders of the federal government and the federal member states in Dusamareb and Mogadishu, an electoral model which is a replica and a slight improvement of the 2016 indirect election model was agreed on September 17th this year in Mogadishu after 5 days of discussion. Both houses of the parliament approved the agreement on the 26th of September in a joint session. Moreover, the technical details of the election were consented by the federal government and federal member state leaders in October 2nd, and the president has lately signed the agreement on the 12th of November this month. The agreements define an indirect election process with 6 main characteristics. The first is for each of the 275 seats of the House of the People of the Federal Parliament, an electoral college of 101 and delegates will be selected to vote for the seat. Second, each seat of the House of the People will be assigned to one location, one election location, including 2 locations in each federal member state and 1 in Mogadishu. Third, candidates for the House of the People seats will pay 10,000 in fee, US dollars to register. Candidates for the upper house will also pay 20,000 in registration fee. Fourth, federal member state legislators will vote on the seats of the upper house members, totaling 54. Fifth, the election will be managed by a 2-tiered system, including a federal indirect election implementation team and state indirect election implementation team, who will cooperate to implement the process. And finally, 21-member independent dispute resolution committee will manage compliances relating to candidacy and delegate selection, voting process, outcome of the elections, and the conduct of election management committees. There are 4 limitations of this election design. The first is the economics of the election. And the federal indirect election design is quite expensive. It will be an elite election. The non-refundable election registration fee, which is 10,000 for the House of the People and 20,000 for the upper house, are quite high and locks out many potential candidates who could not afford the registration fees. In 2016, the registration fee for the House of the People was 5,000 and also 2,500 for women candidates. This will now be doubled, and there is also no reduction in the registration fee for women. The registration fee does not reflect the economic status of the country. It systematically excludes a significant portion of the society, mainly the youth and the women, who would like to join the legislative bodies because they cannot afford this money. Therefore, the upcoming election would be contested by a privileged few. The second limitation is the women representation. According to the agreed process, there are no reserved seats for women. Each woman candidate will compete with other male and female contenders for each seat. This would most likely reduce the current 24% of women representation in both chambers of the parliament. The third limitation is the time frame and the tasks ahead. The election activities often require a tentative schedule that can cater for the time gaps and unforeseeable time lapses. The federal government and federal member states agreed a tentative deadline for the federal indirect elections. According to the agreed timeline, the federal and state election implementation teams was ideally to be appointed between the 10th and the 20th of October last month, trained the committee between the 20th and 31st of October, prepared the electoral delegates and polling centers in November, elected the upper house members in the first 10 days of December, elected the members of the House of the People between the 10th and the 27th of December 2020, and elected the speakers of the two chambers of parliament, as well as the president between the 1st January and the 8th February 2021. The appointment of the state level committees were not yet completed as of today. This is evident that the agreed timeline was not realistic. The fourth limitation is the election management. This election will be managed by federal and state level election implementation teams. Most of the recently appointed members of these bodies have no prior experience in managing an election. From the perspective of the commissioners, and given the amount of money involved in the electoral process, membership of the federal and state level members of these election implementation teams provides opportunity for corruption. Some candidates would most likely bribe commissioners in order to win the election, as the 2016 experience shows. That the 2020-21 elections will be managed by federal and state level bodies, similar to the 2016 process, is another main weakness of the electoral election design. There are three main challenges currently faced by this election. The first is the recently appointed commissioners were publicly challenged by the opposition candidates who expressed that these bodies are not neutral. This is why Jubaland and Puntland have not yet released the list of the state level election members, committee members. Second, the management of the Somaliland seats is very critical and equally sensitive issue. The upper house chair and some opposition groups disdained the appointment of the Somaliland Commission by the office of the Prime Minister. Since Somaliland seats will be elected in Mogadishu, due to political reasons, they face potential manipulation from the political actors and even by some of the Somaliland politicians who are well connected. Third, the Gather region, where 16 seats were planned to be elected, poses another challenge. Jubaland president has recently questioned the troops in the Gather region, and if the election of the parliament allocated in the Garbahari district is possible. Going forward, the federal government and federal member state leaders need to come together and address concerns that relate to the election commissions and the Gather region. The commission for the management of the Somaliland seats should be given the independence it deserves in order to minimize attempts to manipulate these seats. The election for these seats could be held in an agreed neutral venue. Finally, representation for women and the realization of the quota needs more efforts and political commitment from all stakeholders. The federal level and state level election bodies should coordinate with the clan and with the clans and promote the concept of rotational allocation of seats to women among the sub-clans. This is seen as the most effective way of securing the 30% quota and or even more. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mahad,